Have you ever wondered how humans went from being ordinary monkeys in the forest to ruling the earth? The book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind is like a canvas stretching across 100,000 years, giving you the answer. Written by Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli historian, it takes us on a journey through time from the African savanna to modern cities. He ties the human story together with three revolutions: the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, and the scientific revolution. This isn't a dry textbook, it's a thrilling adventure into how we went from nobodies to gods on Earth, while grappling with confusion and costs along the way. Today, we're breaking down this book to see just how wild and contradictory the human journey has been. Ready? Let's dive in. Part 1. From Trees to Plains: The Cognitive Revolution's Big Bang. Picture this: 70,000 years ago in Africa. You're a sapiens, surrounded by other humans, Neanderthals, Homo erectus, all living pretty similar lives, hunting and gathering to get by. Back then, sapiens weren't special. We were kind of weak, slower than lions, less bulky than Neanderthals. But then, something clicked. Sapiens got a cheat code. What happened? Harari calls it the cognitive revolution. It wasn't about getting stronger, it was about getting smarter. Specifically, our language skills took off. Why is language such a big deal? It lets sapiens gossip, tell stories, and team up like never before. Imagine saying to a neighboring tribe, "Hey, there's a mammoth over that hill, let's take it down and split the meat." Neanderthals might have just grunted and gestured, way less efficient. Even cooler, sapiens started spinning made-up stories. What's a made-up story? Stuff that doesn't exist, like gods, tribal spirit, or future plans. These tales sound fake, but they brought people together. Think about it. Dozens of sapiens could unite under a shared belief in a mountain god to hunt as a team, while other species maxed out with small family packs. Harari puts it like this: lions had claws, sapiens had stories. Doesn't that ring true today? Companies, nations, money, they're all made up, but without these stories, we'd get nothing done. The cognitive revolution lit a spark that shot sapiens from the middle of the food chain to the top. But that spark had a downside: we started using stories to oppress ourselves and fight each other. Tribes clashed over whose god was better, spilling blood over fiction. That's humanity's starting line, brilliant and messy all at once. Digging deeper, language wasn't just a tool, it rewired our brains. Scientists say our prefrontal cortex, the part that handles abstract thinking, is way bigger than in other primates. That's no fluke, it's what happens when you use language nonstop. You could call language the cheat software of human evolution, letting us imagine, plan, and cooperate. But it's got glitches. We lean so hard on fiction that we sometimes lose track of what's real. Ancient folks genuinely thought gods lived in the sky. Today, we're convinced the stock market will always climb. That power makes us unbeatable and totally lost. Part 2. The agricultural revolution: from free hunters to trapped farmers. Fast forward to 12,000 years ago, sapiens are all over the globe, still hunting and gathering. Life was tough but free, chasing whatever food you wanted, working just a few hours a day. Then one day, someone had a wild idea: let's plant stuff, grow wild wheat, stick around, and skip the long treks. Boom, the agricultural revolution kicked off. Harari calls it maybe the biggest ups in human history. Why an ups? Farming sounds easier, but it was way harder than hunting. Gatherers roamed and rested. Farmers slaved in fields, sowing seeds, stressing over floods or bugs. Nutrition tanked to hunters ate meat, fruits, nuts. Farmers lived on wheat, short on protein, even shrinking in height. Worse, settling down exploded the population. A small tribe of 50 could shrug off a few deaths. A village of 500 got wiped out by plague. So why farm? Harari says it wasn't brilliance, it was path dependence. Farming fed more people, even if life got worse, giving tribes an edge in numbers. In a fight, 10 scrawny farmers could overwhelm 5 buff hunters. So humans got locked in, free hunters turned into slaves of the soil. Harari compares it to us, grinding away for houses and cars, forgetting we wanted freedom in the first place. Farming also birthed ownership and class. My land, my grain, my rules. Kings, nobles, and slaves popped up. Society got complicated, equality vanished as we boxed ourselves into roles. In ancient Egypt, farmers toiled for grain that filled the pharaoh's vaults while they starved. Harari shares a grim find. Archaeologists see early farmers' bones, worn out, arthritis, bad teeth, the works. This revolution fed us but stole our easy days. And here's a kicker: farming flipped our bond with nature. Gatherers were nature's buddies, taking only what they needed. Farmers bent it to their will, clearing forests, digging canals. That didn't just exhaust us, it planted seeds for today's ecological mess. Climate change, desertification, blame those first plows. Harari says the agricultural revolution wasn't progress, it was a trap we built ourselves. Part 3: The Scientific Revolution from Ignorance to Power's Price. Jump to 500 years ago, Europe's Renaissance fades, and the scientific revolution takes off. Harari says its heart wasn't knowing more but admitting we don't know. Old-timers thought the Bible or ancient texts had all the answers. Scientists said, let's figure it out. Copernicus guessed the Earth orbits the Sun, Newton cracked gravity, Darwin pitched evolution. Each "I don't know" pushed us forward. Science had two wingmen, tech and empires. Tech turned ideas into stuff. Steam engines burned coal for power, guns turned dreams into conquests. Empires gave science a playground. Spain sailed for gold and funded geography. Britain colonized India and studied plants. Harari cites Captain Cook in 1778 hitting Hawaii not just to claim it, but with scientists tagging along to map and sketch, even dying for it. That's the science empire tango, curious and greedy. But progress came with a bill. Factories smoked up the Industrial Revolution, rivers turned black, workers dropped dead by machines. Colonized people got enslaved, their cultures flattened. In 19th century Britain, textile factory kids worked 14-hour days, dead by 20. Harari asks, did knowledge buy us happiness or wreckage? Today, AI and gene editing make us godlike, but nukes and climate crises inch us toward doom. This revolution made us almighty and cocky and confused. Zoom in. Science also shook our beliefs. Religion once explained it all, now science is the new God. But unlike faith, science hands out facts, not meaning. Darwin says you're a monkey's cousin but doesn't tell you why you're here. That frees us and leaves us hollow. Harari says the real cost of science might not be trashed ecosystems, but a soul-deep emptiness. Part 4. The Power of Fiction from Tribes to Global Empires. Running through all three revolutions is the magic of fiction. Harari says sapiens don't win with speed, they win with stories. In the cognitive revolution, tribes rallied around spirits. In the agricultural revolution, kings ruled by divine right. In the scientific revolution, nations ran on laws and economies. None of these are real, but they get millions to work together. Take money. Gold, paper, it's worthless unless we all agree it's not. Harari tells a tale. A Dutch guy in the 1600s swapped a house for tulip bulbs because everyone bought the hype until the bubble popped. Sound familiar? Bitcoin skyrockets on the same trust me vibe. Or laws, we don't know each other, but we stop at red lights because we buy into the rules. Fiction's ace card, religion and ideologies. Christianity says God loves you, communism says history's on your side, capitalism says the market fixes all. Those beliefs tie strangers into cities, nations, even the un. In medieval Europe, the Pope yelled crusade, and thousands marched for a heaven story. But when stories clash, trouble, crusades, Cold War fiction's fireworks. Today, globalization mashes stories, some cling to freedom, others to tradition, and the fights roll on. Fiction even evolves. Capitalism started as an economic trick, then morphed into a lifestyle, love and happiness priced in dollars. Harari notes, 19th century Brits said time is money, invented clocking in and stuffed life into schedules. Fiction sets us free and chains us up. Part 5. The Happiness Paradox. Are we actually better off? From apes to gods in 100,000 years, leaf munching to burgers, campfires to Wi-Fi, but are we happier? Harari drops a bomb. Progress doesn't mean joy. Gatherers worked a few hours, then chilled. We grind 9 to 5 or 996, dressed to the max. Farming filled our bellies but broke our backs. Science stretched our lives but spiked our anxiety. Data backs him up. Lifespans doubled in centuries, infant deaths are way down, but depression and suicide are climbing. He cites an experiment. Rats hit a button for sugar, get hooked, and starve pushing it. Us, we binge phones and show short thrills, bigger voids. Happiness isn't just stuff, it's meaning. Science debunked gods and souls, leaving us with questions. What's the point? The irony? The better we get at shaping the world, the less we know what we want. Survival drove us once. Now, full bellies breed confusion. Romans built roads and fought wars, no time to mope. We've got it all and still ask, who am I? Harari adds, faith boxed old societies in. Freedom lets us roam but wears us out finding purpose. He jokes, humans might be the only animal with an existential crisis. Zoom out, fiction fuels teamwork but widens gaps. Kings feast, slaves starve, CEOs buy yachts, workers scrape by. In 19th century London, the rich sipped tea while the poor couldn't afford bread. That's not just cash, it's a happiness chasm. Progress lifts some to the stars and drops others in the dirt. Part 6. The Future Crossroads. From Sapiens to Godmen. Harari zooms to tomorrow. The scientific revolution's still rolling. AI, gene editing, brain chips are pushing us toward a new species, Godmen. He warns, 21st century sapiens might go the way of Neanderthals, outclassed by upgraded humans. Gene editing could craft super babies. AI could run the show. Our minds could get hacked. Cool, right? But shadowy too. Who gets the upgrade? Rich folks first, what about the rest? Will society split into gods and mortals? In the US, companies already hawk gene optimization, designer kids for the elite, tough luck for everyone else. And if AI outsmarts us, what's our role? Harari recalls AlphaGo crushing a chess champ not with brute force, but alien logic. Our creations are starting to redefine us. Future paths, 3 options. Bio upgrades to superhumans, brain chip fusions, or handing it all to AI and bowing out. Each has traps. Brain chips sound slick until a hacker owns your thoughts. Harari paints a creepy picture, robot armies fighting, humans just pushing buttons. It's not just tech, it's ethics. Is this the future we want? Sapiens got here by adapting, gatherers to forests, farmers to fields, scientists to the unknown. Tomorrow, we adapt to our own inventions. Harari says that's our toughest test. We're not nature's prey anymore, we're our own. Part 7. History as a mirror. Who are we? Reading Sapiens isn't just history, it's a mirror showing what we're made of. We're storytelling animals, conquering the world with tales from mountain gods to laws. We are walking contradictions, craving freedom, forging our own shackles. We're curious explorers, unlocking the unknown with science, then tripping over the chaos it brings. Harari doesn't call us great, just unique, tiny yet mighty, sharp yet clueless. This 10,000-year epic stars no heroes, just everyday you and me. Gatherers chipped stones, farmers swung hoes, scientists ran experiments all scribbling Sapiens' tale. Sumerians invented writing to track grain, not pen poems. Industrial workers died building the trains we ride. Little lives, big history. So next time you're scrolling, grabbing coffee, or stargazing, think, you're in this story. How'll you write your part chasing made-up dreams or pausing to ask what matters? Harari knows ancients saw gods in the sky. We see spaceships. But through it all, we're still the species asking why. Part 8. Sapiens' Legacy. What have we left behind? Dig deeper. In 100,000 years, what's our mark beyond ruling Earth? Harari says tangible legacies are cities, roads, tech. Intangible ones are culture, ideas, conflicts. Greeks gave us democracy and philosophy, shaping votes and classrooms today. Medieval monks saved knowledge by copying books. But there's a dark side: wars, slavery, pollution, scars we've gouged into the planet. Egypt's pyramids are built on slaves' backs. The Industrial Revolution dazzled, but smoked out the skies. Harari tells of Europeans hitting New Zealand, bringing potatoes and plague, having the Maori. That's our legacy, creation tangled with ruin. We've raised wonders and sown disasters. Culture's trickier. Religion unites and divides. Science lifts and unmoors us. We're passing the internet to our kids, blessing or curse. It floods us with info and drowns us in lies. Harari calls our legacy a double-edged sword. Wield it right, it's gold. Swing it wrong, it cuts. Hull future God men judge this messy inheritance, thanks or eye rolls. Part 9. Today in the mirror. What Sapiens says about now. Finally, let's swing back to today. Sapiens isn't just a history lesson, it's a guide for right now. Harari says knowing the past sharpens our view of the present. Globalization? Just the agricultural revolution 2.0, villages to nations to one big earth tribe, all powered by bigger stories. But it drags new headaches: warming planets, resource wars, culture clashes, old woes and fresh masks. And us? How different are we from gatherers or farmers? They hustled to live. We scramble for deadlines. They were tied to land, we're glued to screens. Harari quips, we check phones 150 times a day, more than ancients checked the sky. That's not progress, just a shinier cage. Tech makes us mightier, not happier. Here's the kicker: Sapiens begs us to rethink. Curiosity and teamwork got us here, but they're warping curiosity into shopping, teamwork into rivalry. Harari asks, have we lost why we started? He doesn't answer, he hands you the pen. How do you want to live? That's the book's magic, not a rule book, but a nudge to figure it out yourself.